this problem, I go over some conceptual problems we have in this class: constructions contracts, problem 1, 2, and 3. And again, there is no concrete answer whether in favor of this side or the other. That's why in the dispute between the parties, all the parties involved may, if not always, have to hire attorneys, lawyers to support them. So that case here, you have the first scenarios. As a contractor, you have built 100 unit apartment complex that rent for $450 per unit per month. At the late completion, you will assess 2,000 per day. Would you qualify the investment at the liquidated damages or the penalties or as a penalty? And if the contractor had included a bonus of 500 per day for early completion, would you expect to gain any assessment from the cost of actions if it go to the court, and why? So liquidated damages is when the in before when we sign a contract, uh, we can anticipate the project if it may be delayed. What should be the damages potentially for the work, for the delay of the work that the owner, for example, loss of revenue in this case, that if you delay, you cannot rent out the unit, then the owner will lost. If it actual lost, then we call it actual damages. Liquidated damages is reasonably estimate the damages. And then, or as a penalty, and normally in the contract, if you don't have incentive, the penalty is not acceptable in the contract. So in this case here, just like you have, if it project delay 1 month, for example, the owner will lose the revenue is 450 times 100, so 45,000. And if that, the assess for the delays is 2,000 per day, so let me put down here 2,000 per day. Mode we have number 1, so 2,000 you times 30, just assume 30 days per month, so you have 60,000 per month. And compared to the owner have is 450 per month, which means for all units it will be 45,000 per month. So as you can see there, if it's the project delayed, if you consider you have to pay 60,000, why the owner, if the project finish on time, the maximum the owner can get the revenue is 45,000. So in that case, the liquidated damages put in the contract is not reasonable. And when it's not reasonable, it will not be enforceable. And that consider a penalty, because that it exceeds what the contractor, the owner anticipate to get if the project complete early. So with that one, it will not be enforceable. It's too high compared to the actual loss if the project delays to the owner, so that will not enforceable. Now, the next scenario, if the contract had included a bonus 500 per day for the early completion, would you expect that any gain assessment and to gain any assessment from the court action? Yes, because that become an incentive and disincentive. If you late, you get the $500 per day for the time saving. If you delay, then you have to be charged 200,000 per day. If the both party agree in that incentive and disincentive provision, then maybe enforceable. So that you can see that if it no bonus involved in the contract, then in this case the contractor will not have to pay 2,000 per day. For the delays, we need to assess the actual damages. The owner have to show the actual damages due to the delay of the owner, the clients, due to delay of contractor to get the money. So as you can see, it's not always the one side for the other, but that way not everything clear. In when you go to court, you can anticipate any outcome, any verdict. Go to problem 2. On a subway station project in a metropolitan areas, the contractor is required to reconstruct, and relocate various utility lines in conjunction with the excavating the stations. One utility that clearly needs to be replaced is on old cast iron natural gas lines. The replacement gas line is clearly shown on the contract drawings. However, it's unclear from the documents whether a note reference utility work by others does or does not apply in the gas as shown in the contract drawings. So note is utility done by other. And specification do include the specification requirements for the time of pipe and fitting to be used for the gas lines. 2 weeks prior to the bid, the contractor estimated reviews the contract drawings and become confused about the responsibility for the gas line replacement. In the instruction to bid, there is a statement that question may be addressed to project-specific persons in the owner organization, and their addresses and telephone number are given. Elsewhere in the contract documents, it is provided that the interpretation of the contracts must be written and the oral explanation or instruction given prior to the award of contract will not be binding. And then contractor estimator call for the listed telephone number and talk to one of the 2 individuals named in the instruction to bid, and the individual listen to the problem, then try to call the someone at the designer consultant office for the answer, but it is unable to reach. And then after the reviewer himself, they advise that it's not in the scope, and upon reliance, the estimator does not include any amount in the bid, but put the allowance for the gas lines, just like to support that. During the early weeks of the project construction, the contractor project staff noticed that there is very little money in the budget for the gas line, only 2,500. The contractor project manager required the owner resident engineer as to whether it's required to perform the gas line replacement, and is told that the work is part of the contract. So what should be the contractor do? How should be the owner respond? And is the contractor entitled for additional compensation for the gas line work? So in this case, as you can see, and that's what we have typical in the real life, it's tricky, right? In the bid, put the telephone number, addresses to give the call clarification. But then in this case, as you can see, and they put in the oral explanation or instruction prior to the award of contract will not be binding. So keep that in mind. So if something like that, you may need to get the other party, if you say not in scope of work, you put that in writing. Very important. And when it in writing, everything clear is done. But in this case, that confusing. So that what lesson learned you have. But it already happened. We cannot change that fact. What should the contractor do? So in that case, and you can see it tricky there. You put the telephone number here. I ask him. He clarified. So we put that. And the second the contractor can do, as you can see, upon that instruction, I only put a little amount just to support the work, but not really the work itself. And that is the contractor. The owner respond. They just go to yes. Oral explanation or instructions given prior to the award of contract will not be binding. And that is instruction orally, so not binding. And then as you can see, each contractor entitled additional compensation. So both parties have their own position. That's why they need a court or mediator or arbitrator to solve this problem. It's not easy to solve, right? So with that, we go back to the concept of contract interpretation. Remember, we have interpretation of contract with the rules we have in today in there. See that? Then we can be able to go back to the contract documents, go back to the negotiation, anything here it occur, any separate negotiated term or any evidence, borrow any apply the doctrine of contract pro random. If we see the specification have and then enjoy and say by other things like that, you can challenge, improve your position. Priority of the documents, just like specification and drawings in this case, then the owner tend to be in a better position. Specification include that work, but in drawings say by others. So as you can see, and specification normally had higher priority than the drawings. Then that if you work for the owner, that's what you're looking for. And if you work for the contractor, you go with the doctrine of contract proper random, because in this case the contract drafted by the owner, any ambiguity is should against the drafter, the owner in this case. So as you can see, I say there is no clear answer for entitled or not, but that's what the if you work for contractor or the owner should have, and that the attorney we're looking for. So let's go to the last problem here. Just like I put some real life scenarios so that you can see it not real life is different from the academic that you have. Okay, I need to have the answer yes or no, whether the owner get it or contractor get it. The outcome from the litigation or arbitration can be go either way. But for us, with the knowledge, we need to use different skills, different knowledge to strengthen our position. So hopefully we have more chance to win in court or in arbitration. So let's continue. The plans and specification of for additions for the addition to the hospital require steel pipes to be driven until a specific bolt count is obtained. The contract document contains extensive boring logs and detailed soil report that state the approximate elevation at which the required blow count should be achieved. The contract drawings also include the same estimated elevation at which the required blow count for the pile will be achieved. So remember the first contract, I mean the pile driving, you learn about blow and how that involves. Contract drawings also include the same estimate elevation at which the required blow count for piles will be achieved, but note on the drawings indicate that this is an estimate only and is not guaranteed. The contract terms certain typical contain typical disclaimers of liability for the accuracy of all source information, as well as any conclusion drawn from such information by contractor. After successfully driving pipe at the western portion of the buildings in accordance with the contract, the contractor discovered that the pile in the eastern half of the building cannot be driven as deeply as expected. The owner engineer then increased the blow count requirement to deal with the problems. Contractor refused to proceed without receiving the change order for additional work, time, and cost required by additional pipe driving effort. What should the owner and contractor, owner or owner's engineer do? What should the contractor do? So both sides, what should they do in that situation? So apply what we learned in the today lesson. We can hear many clauses will be involved or change. The second is you have a different side condition, because that what different between the the physical work, and what called in contract clause, and what is written in contract for disclaimer here. So as you can see, in this case, the owner and owner engineer tend to go to the contract. I already disclaimed that it's liability for years, right? So just only the for information, not guarantee that now it happened. You have to work on that. So owner side. Now contractor, they have other things that they can strengthen their position. First, as you can see, we can go with the theory of different site conditions. Uh, the below indicate in the geotechnical report, in the boring logs, as you can see there, or also in the contract drawings. But now it's different. Then it called type 1, different site condition, type 1. As you can see, we learned in the second video of today's lessons. Can go that scenarios. And the second thing that you can see that here, the contractor have to take a look. Contractor refused to proceed without receiving the change order. That we learned in our slide. If remember, you should not do that. Continuing performance, contract performance. So if the contract say that, so even both parties dispute about the change, the contractor should continue to do the work. Pending final resolution of claim except as otherwise agreed in writing or as provided in here, the contractor shall proceed diligently with performance of the contract. You see that? So here it's not be advisable that the contractor refuse to proceed without receiving the change order. You should have that. You should do the work. So that you can see apply the concept that we have. You can strengthen the position. And again, no clear answer. Oh, in this case, the court will go to the owner or the contractor. So with that, give you some real life scenarios in these three problems so that you can see it's very important to understand the concept of the construction contract when you do in your engineering or construction career.